following program is intended for mature audiences.
It's the music, movies, and shows you love.
As if we care.
And hate.
You ain't gonna like it none.
And love to hate.
I didn't expect that at all.
This is the Broken Remote.
And coming to you live on tape on this January 3rd, 2023. The new year is upon us, everybody. We have made it through yet another calendar year. We are all living, breathing, as is the Buffalo Bill player, Hamlin, today.
Well, apparently
thankfully.
Not. Oh, he is alive.
He died on the field and they resuscitated him.
Okay,
So,
I mean,
as
that's gotta be pretty weird.
As we start off here, the great Will the Thrill, we're talking off air, and I'm just like, oh yeah, did you watch TV last night? And I'm like, did you watch the football? And he's like, oh yeah, college games. We were those kickers. They suck. And it was like, yeah, you're right. They're terrible as they miss everything. But I was like, no, I was talking about the guy that died on the field last night. That's where I was going with that one.
Yeah, I somehow missed that one. I don't know how that one passed me by. I do have the flu right now, so that has definitely apparently knocked me out of major events that would be everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, this was basically the event of the past 12 to 24 hours at this point. Well, yeah, I guess 24. It happened at 8 and change. It happened like minutes into the first quarter. It was pretty crazy. But you didn't see it. Basically, there was just a play. It was like any ordinary play. Mm-hmm. And the defensive guy that tackled the wide receiver, last name Hamlin, second-year kid out of Pitt. He, playing for the Bills, he tackled the wide receiver from the Bengals, got up and popped up like everything was normal, and then just went right backwards.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and everybody, all of a sudden you saw the players look around, and they started freaking out, and then all the training staff came running over from the sidelines, and then ultimately ended up doing CPR on the guy for like 9 minutes on the field. So
Jesus, dude.
The broadcast crew had no clue what to do. And as is remotes to the Broken Remote, the best part about this is they have a guy. His name is Booger McFarland.
That's a great one.
Oh,
what a great name.
Booger McFarland.
And he knew what to do in those situations.
Oh, let me tell you. So the great thing about Booger, and I wish that they had this stuff on demand for streaming, but They tried to put him into the ESPN fold of broadcasters, and they put him on the Boogermobile. And so basically, he was.
Oh, that's exactly what you want to have happen for you when you're dying in front of the entire world.
Oh well, what happened was he wasn't in the Boogermobile anymore because he did the Monday night broadcasts a couple of years ago. And they put him on the Boogermobile, and he basically was on like this elevated platform, and they would drive him up and down the sidelines, and they were like, Booger, tell us what's going on. And they go to him, and he basically blocking everybody's line of sight in the stadium, and everybody hated him for it.
Oh, that's
Not
great.
to mention he was a terrible broadcaster. And they ultimately promoted him because, it's the Peter principle, right? You get promoted and promoted.
When that happens. Yes, this guy is clearly inept and incompetent at his job. Let's give him more money and bigger benefits.
Just boost them up. Come on, we got to keep propping them up until they fail. Peter principle at its finest.
It's too awkward to fire him. Here's what we're going to do. Give him the window office that overlooks the bay or something like that.
Well, they ultimately promoted him all the way up to the main Monday Night Football broadcast, and this guy was just sheer laughter because he fucked up so much shit and was just so terrible that they just blew out the entire broadcast crew and they brought in new people. But anyway, they moved him to the studio. So
perfect.
They've got Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, who's the number one broadcast team for a long time. I mean, they just moved to Monday night this year. They're doing this game, and then they're just kind of like, dude, there's nothing for us to do. Like, they stopped the entire game. This guy died on the field. They just resuscitated him. They brought in defibrillators. They started him up like, I don't know what you want to do. So they throw it back to the studio to Booger, and it was like, oh, my God. Booger.
Game over, man. It's game over.
You're terrible. And he just doesn't know what to do, and he keeps saying the same things over again. And he's got a vocabulary of maybe 50 words, right? So
oh, beautiful.
The longer it goes
this
on,
guy.
the more you're just kind of like, oh my God. ESPN producers must be like, dude, what the fuck do we do?
So what you want to make sure happens is you give the Heimlich maneuver. Heimlich. Yeah, Heimlich. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I know what's going on here. I am also a part of this.
And so what are your thoughts, Booger? Oh, man. Like, what do you say?
You are a stupid asshole.
You really are.
What do you say, man?
You know, right now, this is about Hamlin, the man. Hamlin, the individual, the person, not the football player. Like, yeah, I mean, we pretty much understand that. It's just like, can you vamp it all?
I was talking to my friends. So I normally never watch football, but I was with a group of guys over New Year's who were, they were into it. They're watching the Columbus game. And
Columbus game. Do you mean the Ohio State game?
The Ohio State game, but it is always
right out of the
Columbus
gate. It's like
but there was just something about the end of like every single one of those games, dude, where I'm just like, I understand football players and being interested in the game and everything, but then there's just every one of those fucking guys after the game that goes, so what was going through your head when you were about to lose that game there? I was thinking I had to throw the ball to someone that was on my team, and it's like, what were you thinking was going through your head when they were throwing you that ball? I was thinking I had to catch the ball. When they were throwing the ball to the other team, what were you thinking? I thought I had to stop that ball from being caught by the other team, and you're like, this is
just providing nothing, William.
the most useless interview of all time, and they have like 50 guys getting paid God knows how much money to ask the same questions after every single game. Like, I completely understand being into football and watching the game, but there's something about that post commentary where they're interviewing the players the dumbest questions possible, where I'm just like, who is this for? Like,
well, what's beautiful about it is that has been the criticism of those sideline reporters for, decades on decades. I mean, probably a good 30 years.
So, Rich, when you were finishing up there the other day, what was your real thought going through your head? I just wanted to make sure.
Well, the girl in the front, the girl in the front row there, she had a pretty big set of cans, and I just kept staring at it, and then all of a sudden, the special teams coach was like, "Rich, you got to go kick that fucking field goal, asshole! Stop staring at the boobs and start staring at the pigskin."
When you were finishing that big swim race, what was going through your head? I was thinking to breathe and be faster than everybody else. So you got to remember to breathe, because if you don't breathe, you die like that Richard Hamlin guy.
Yep, that's what will happen. That's what will happen.
Breathe. That's so I can't breathe. Never would have thought of it. Never would have thought. This is what makes him a pro, and that's why I'm over here. Okay, back to you, Jeff. And he's like, he's getting $80K a year for that.
They kicked it up like a whole nother notch, because on top of it just being a beyond stupid like broadcasting concept, the sideline reporter that's just giving you information that's kind of like, maybe back in the day when, you didn't have communication tools such as like the internet and text messages, and, you needed somebody down on the sideline to kind of see what was happening. Now with cameras, like, you can see down on the sideline from anywhere in the goddamn
I can see the individual
stadium.
pores on the people playing that game. And they're trying to tell me, if that was just an inch further, Frank, that would have been it. That would have been, if they were, I'm not sure if this team wants it. I think they want it.
But they dumbed it down even more, because now they've just so pigeonholed themselves to, okay, what is a sideline reporter? It's a woman.
It's a hot woman. It's a hot woman.
It's an attractive female between the ages of 25 and 35. Mm-hmm. Unless we got to hold on to them for some other specific reason, probably because maybe they are an African American and we can't fire them after 35. Mm-hmm. But if they're, a white girl at 36, it's probably time for them to move on and do something else.
If she hasn't married a player by that point, what's the point?
Exactly. So, and it was like that's what it is. It is a female between 25 and 36. They're never ugly either. They're never ugly.
You can't be. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to have an ugly,
all attractive chicks.
You're going to have some like 400-pound lesbian from Georgia just come on and be like, yeah, so I used to play pick up ball with my cousins every Thanksgiving, and it's like, okay, that's great, Carol. That's great, Carol. Can you move on now? We have Trisha over here who is, barely over 22, It's 6 feet tall on the dot, and literally has like just out of a Disney cartoon is how she's built. She's going to talk now about a sport she has never watched in her life, except at her boyfriend's house, who is also playing this game.
But you know that there is some 400-pound heifer out there who is probably the best broadcaster on the planet,
100%.
and she is never going to get a sniff.
She knows.
Not
the
even
game.
from Joe
She
Biden
knows
would she get a
questions.
sniff.
She will
See
know,
what I did there?
No, 100%. Well, I mean, you're not going to get a sniff from him unless you're like, under the age of 15. So,
that's true.
he has clearly established what he likes, what he's into. Which, speaking of, I have not heard anything on that front in some time, though I'm sure the internet, being what it is and that being so widely out there, I'm sure there's a whole division of the White House that's like, oh, fuck, he sniffed another young girl. We got to kill this photo as fast
his
as
sniffing
possible.
has been like on the DL. So, I mean, I think they finally have him locked up in a wing, and they're just like, we'll let him out to do a couple of speeches.
Yeah, listen,
Holidays.
He has his tapioca pudding. They put on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or any other. I mean, that might be too conservative for him. That movie, I don't know. I'm just saying any old person movie that they would watch. Briv over the River Quad. There you go. Yeah, they put that on, and they're like, okay, there's something going on with inflation. We need you to talk out loud. And then they just sort of meander him down there where he stares into a void for a half hour and then leaves as fast as possible.
Sir Alec Guinness, the great Obi-Wan Kenobi, the original Obi-Wan Kenobi, was a star in Bridge over River Kwai.
I've
I'm
not
not
seen
mistaken.
that movie in a hot minute.
Oh, I don't think I ever have. I used to have his soundbite saying something like, "Gentlemen, we have a problem," something like that, which I never ended up using. It's just sitting on my computer somewhere. But
It's
anyway,
somewhere. It's one day when we'll find a reason.
Yeah, reason to throw it in there. But
How's the soundbite? It's fine.
It's fine. It's like everything fine. Not like the guy last night. He was not fine.
No, he was not fine. I think death is the opposite of fine.
How did you miss that, though? I mean, literally.
I literally have been napping like all day, and like the work I've been doing has just been like it's like minor studying for another fucking exam I'll have to take later this month.
Yeah, but
so
I mean,
that has been
like you didn't even have neighbors coming over being like,
No, this is my.
Hey, Will, did you see it?
This is my
That guy, he died on the field.
This is my parents' place. Everyone, where I'm at today, because holidays are just ending, so it's still like not completely back yet. But I'm like getting this appliance fixed here, so I'm here for the week. But I barely interacted with some friends since I left from New Year's.
I
So
wish you.
I am in the most void state of being that I would be in.
Yeah, you are really in the black hole. Well, the flu will do that to you. At your parents' house will definitely do that to you.
Oh, yeah. Now that said, I have not been completely worthless with this, lonesomeness. I have been watching a plethora of just average, overrated, and just plain bad movies.
Well, there are a ton to go around, and we're going to jump into one here real quick before I leave you with the next thing that you could do while you're sick, and that is to watch the wokest TV show ever made.
Oh, do tell.
Oh,
okay.
That's a teaser. You're going to have to wait till the end of that one. That's going to be like, it is this,
theories,
but I'm not telling you yet.
I have some theories because I've heard some bad things about a new show that I will ask you about, but it may not be that one.
All right, well, you have to wait to the end. But this one is a treat. This one is a treat.
I'm kind of excited.
And you don't have to watch the whole thing. I'm just going to put a minimum of 2 episodes. You could start at the beginning. You could pick any 2 in the middle. I don't think it matters.
I showed my friend another episode. We watched another episode of She-Hulk together while we were together last week.
Didn't you finish that, or we never finished that?
No, we watched. I think you finished it. I watched the first episode, and I just could not stand her.
Did you finish it yet?
No, I've watched 2 episodes total now, and it is just
no.
like...
All right, yeah. We can't talk about it unless you finish it.
It's just an infuriating show. But I think we've talked about She-Hulk pretty...
Yeah, there's nothing really more. But you should watch the ending.
You tell me it's not a deep-ass show? You tell me they don't really get to the nitty-gritty of what life is?
No, the most surprising thing about it, and again, not the rehash shot we talked about, was just that this thing got made the way that it did. This was just literally something that Disney was like, I don't know, we've invested too much time and effort in this, so just fucking greenlight it and shoot it. And
I'm not sure if
we don't care how it turns out.
Show. Did your kids watch the show? what's it called? SpongeBob. Do they watch SpongeBob anymore?
No, they do not. They do not.
That was huge back in my day. But there was a character, Mr. Krabs, very greedy character.
Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs, and I bring that up because there's a famous quote from Mr. Krabs where they say, "Mr. Krabs, what led you to make this decision to build an almost identical shop right next to your own?" And then he comes over to the microphone and he goes, "Money!" And that's what I think of when I think of Disney. Why did you decide to make She-Hulk, a show that no one asked for?
Oh, well,
Money.
Money is a perfect. You got to get to the end because you got to get to where they just basically wrote themselves to a spot they couldn't get out of. And the way, I mean, we talked about it, but the way that they got him out of it was just so infuriating.
I heard there was like a breaking the fourth wall thing.
Yes, they broke and then they pointed to the comics and they were like, she did this in the comics. And it was like, yeah, but this is not the fucking comics. You can't just write a new.
They can get away. These women went to Juilliard or something, wherever this writer's room came from. Okay, you need to respect them. They have suffered so much.
She-Hulk came out of the fucking. She came out of the goddamn screen and went into the quote-unquote reality writers' room and confronted all the writers of the TV show.
Isn't that great? What a great.
Kevin Feige was a robot. He was a robot.
This doesn't lower the value of the MCU at all. What are you talking about? No, this is only a net positive for them. I'm so glad they got to sign off on this.
It really was.
I'm so glad they got to sign off on this.
Now, you want to talk about money. Now, the show we're talking about today was not made for money, but I think it had to be made for just pure fucking ego. That's it, baby.
Oh, dude, yes. 1,000,000%.
And it is the only way it was made.
Like, the fucking, what's it called? Like, the filleting that this movie was doing to this one particular actor?
Yeah.
Was... I don't even know, dude.
And the movie that we're talking about is none other than Dwayne Johnson is fucking cool. You might know it by Black Adam. But
Adam?
Yeah, I know. But the real working title of the first script was Dwayne Johnson is fucking cool.
Oh,
and it really is.
Rich, could you give me, it's such a complicated plot. What was the plot line of Black Adam? It must have been really complex and cool, right?
I mean,
original?
It's really deep. So just strap in, and here it is. Dwayne Johnson is a superhero. And he wears all black.
Fuck?
And he's...
What?
Yeah, he's kind of like a vigilante. I mean, Batman did it, but, The Rock's different. And
but he's a hero, right? So that means he's a good guy?
Well, he's kind of like an anti-hero, but then he is a hero.
That's so cool. Oh, my God.
Of course, there's he finally turns midway through it.
Does he kill people?
He kills him in the beginning because he doesn't fucking care.
No way. That's so cool, dude. Wow,
it is.
I would have loved that movie 15 years ago.
It is, and then at the end, he has a coming to Jesus moment. And then he ultimately becomes the good guy. So, and not to mention, you probably would have seen this 15 years ago because each 20-page arc in the script is taken from another movie. All the way, I mean, literally, this was an amalgamation. That's the correct word, right?
Yeah, amalgamation.
Of like 15 different movies. I mean, I could pinpoint every single scene where it came from. Every one.
Yeah, keep going. No,
I was going to say, like, the biggest ripoff of the whole thing was... Have you seen Superman 2, the old Richard Donner ones?
I have years ago. Like, I was very little when I watched that, so I do not remember. Is that the one where he throws the S? Because I only remember that scene, and I remember them bringing it up in like Family Guy.
It might be. The second one is where he's like, I don't want to be Superman anymore because I want to be with Lois Lane.
No. That's Spider-Man.
No, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I know too.
It's Superman too. And so then he's like, I'm going to give away all of my powers.
Wow, that's such an original story beat. I'm so glad they haven't repeated it in like 5 different superhero sequels to this day.
And so he gives
I'm
his
too
superhero
powerful.
power
I'm gonna-
away. And
Yeah,
then
I'm
guess
gonna-
what happens? Everybody needs his superhero powers to come back.
There's so many things about the movie that were just super flippin' annoying, but I think the biggest one to just start off with is just what you talked about. What I noticed in the movie, like just right off the bat, the moment he comes in, is this movie is just filleting The Rock.
Oh, dude.
To like an unreal degree. He's just so much stronger than us. You can't stop me even if you try.
When you bring your ticket stub to the usher, you have to get on your knees for him to rip it in half.
There's something about it where they oversell how like amazing this guy is or this hero is supposed to be, despite the fact that do they not realize that's kind of why I love Superman, even though I think DC is handling that superhero in like the worst. I think you could handle it really well. I think the people that are in charge of it,
it's tough. They're just doing it in a terrible way.
They're doing it in a terrible way, and it's just if you have these people that are treating Superman in this terrible way, and they're like, you know, we'll just have another person that's just like Superman, but this time it's an anti-hero. Like, you guys don't know what to do, clearly. Like, what are you doing? This is not your strong suit.
Not at all. And that's why kudos to James Gunn for just basically, jettisoning, the entire DC universe and getting it the fuck out of Dodge.
I know we differ on this slightly. Like, I like Henry Cavill just because he seems like I love the Witcher franchise, and that's another thing we could talk about.
I don't hate him.
Yeah, but like I feel bad that he's not Superman anymore because I feel like he could have done something with that version of it, and he looks just like Superman, but he just got. Like, you just joined the worst cycle of DC movies you possibly could have. That was just.
I mean, he was just so boring. Now maybe it was the script. We talked about that before. I see him and I'm like, it's
which is fair. I mean, like, how many times have you rewatched Man of Steel for the dialogue? Never. There's literally a scene in Man of Steel that's just like after Metropolis has been burned to the ash by all these fucking superhumans fighting through the city, and then he starts flirting with Lois Lane, and the flirting makes you're standing on the burnt ash of human corpses in this town on a crumbled building. People around you are covered in radioactive fallout, and she's like, really think you can handle all this? Well, thank goodness I'm not human. That's almost verbatim an actual flirtation line they have in the middle of the final fight scene of Man of Steel. And you just go what the fuck? What did I just listen to? People just died 30 seconds ago, and you're just going, this is a good time to write in a flirt scene.
Yeah, well, that was the Schneider, universe for Superman, which is terrible.
That's what Black Adam has. It's so filled with the same fucked up shit from 10 years ago. They haven't learned anything, man.
Black Adam was just the laziest fucking movie I've seen in a long time. I mean, and there's been a lot of bad movies made recently, but this movie really is terrible.
It was
there's
really
nothing
shocking.
redeeming about it.
Yeah, it was really shocking. They really did. It was so bananas to me just how much they sucked his dick. and because it just every scene, dude, it just kept coming up where he's just like, I'm so strong and cool and silent. First off, this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. No one gives a fuck that he's 6'5" and he's huge. That's part of it. But the main thing. Oh, sorry, 1 second.
That's okay. Well, here's a question for you. Now, are the people in the movie because they're small enough that The Rock will overshadow all of them?
Yeah.
Or these were the only people in Hollywood that were willing to get on their knees and blow Dwayne Johnson before they got the movie? I mean, it's one of the two, right? They're either not threatening or they're the only ones that were like, yeah, sure, you want an oral? Yeah. Here you go. I'll give you some.
So it's just like what really sells The Rock is like he's got this charisma factor that is definitely you can definitely feel it in some movies. Like that's the whole reason people. In some movies, that's what sells it. Like,
I was a huge WWE Rock fan. Let me just say that going in. I still think that The Rock may be the greatest WWE wrestling character of all time. I mean, it's probably either him or Stone Cold. You know, I mean, Hogan was probably a bigger entity, but I don't think he was nearly as good as a character as Rock or Stone Cold. I think those two are probably the pinnacle of all of wrestling. So I'm a huge Rock fan.
Yeah,
I just want to say that at the beginning, and I'm going to shit all over him.
So, okay, good. I was going to say, I knew you were going to that direction, but I was just like, I want to see where this is heading. Because so as someone not fluent in the WWE at all, how much overlap is there between, like, The Rock, you think in real life, and his character? Like, was his character in WWE, did he have his dick sucked constantly?
By the fans, yes.
On stage, like, we know how strong and cool you are, Rock.
Well, but here's the thing: when he was the Rock, right, which made him what he is now as a property, he was the big, giant, athletic dude that was cool, that dropped funny jokes, that more or less kind of shit on everybody that wasn't him. Right, and then like within it, there was a little bit of respect. So it was like, yeah, he's shitting on some people, but he's giving some people respect. But it was just this swagger the character had, and on top of that, that he was just really funny. Like he delivered. The Rock never would have made it in a PG-13 like atmosphere. It never would have happened because he was like, I'm the fucking big, giant, good-looking athlete that every girl wants to fuck. Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, and I know it, and I'm just going to wipe that in everybody's face. But I'm going to do it in a funny way that's going to make you laugh as I'm complimenting myself. And what's happened over time is that he's got, I hate to say it, but they're like this elitist type of air about him. Yeah,
that's what it's... Because, like, have you seen his reactions post this movie? And once again, there's so much shit I want to get into with this movie, dude. Because, I was watching, like, because I ended up, like, so, just some quick background. So, my dad, I came back from, like, the last day of, like, having to be in the office right before the holidays. And my dad was in my apartment, and, he was staying with me in the city for a little bit. And we were, he was watching Black Adam, and I was like, oh, I'll watch a little bit of this with you. And... we watched like a bit of it, and he's gone through like to the final fight scene, and then he just turns it off. And I go, why'd you turn it off? And he goes, I've seen this movie before. And I went, when did you watch Black Adam before? And he goes, no, I mean, I've seen this movie before. I know where this is going.
Everybody has.
Like my dad was, and my dad is very like forgiving of movies. He's usually not one that gets like frustrated or like he's there for just dumb fun. Like
I gotcha.
Complicated life. And he there was something about it that was just so offensive on some level that he just couldn't stand the last half hour. So like I rewatched like a little bit of the beginning after that because I was kind of curious, but I just couldn't get through most of the beginning. I was like, all right, who cares? And so finally yesterday, I was like, I'm just going through the whole thing. I'm going to go through the entire movie.
You really do. And you got to watch it from front to back to understand how bad it is.
Oh my God, dude. It was like the opening was with like this weird like period piece and like the slaves of this foreign nation. Okay. But the freaking... I don't know where to go next specifically.
Well, let's rewind and let's just go back to how the movie got made, right?
Yes.
So,
okay.
And let's just start with there because it really is like a Rock vehicle. The Rock, and he said he's been working. I don't know how it took 15 years to get this movie made.
Yeah, that was the other thing I saw. Like, apparently this has been he's been on the hook for this thing for like so many years.
I mean, come on. The only reason this thing didn't get lit for 15 years was because nobody wanted to back it because they knew it was going to be this steaming pile of horse shit that we got.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were like, look, you're not a big enough star yet to do this movie because the movie sucks.
I think what happened was, because did you watch Shazam?
I did.
at all?
Yes.
Yeah, I liked Shazam.
I liked
which was
Shazam,
weird.
too.
And I was like, so the reason I was kind of excited for Black Adam was because Shazam was fun. Like, they had a bit of a different spin, and like the main character had like this charisma about him, and I was kind of hoping The Rock would add that to Black Adam. Like, he wouldn't take it in this dour, serious way. And then, for whatever reason, they went, no, let's use. I mean, there's so much I want to talk about.
So much of the Rock now has become, he's taken away the, I don't know, kind of like the sexy athlete in him. And now he's just like a big, brawly, like, I can kick the shit out of everybody. And everybody will listen to me because...
That's literally in his contract, dude.
It's become every movie.
Anymore.
It's just like, well, this is what the script's going to say. It's going to be me, and I'm going to be a badass. And they're like, well, can you still be funny? And it was like, well, I could be funny, but if it only, like completely fucking ham-handed lines that you're just going to give me, that's not going to be offensive to anybody. And it's kind of like, well, no, you got to be offensive to be. Well, no. The Rock doesn't do that anymore. That's not The Rock's brand. I'm Dwayne Johnson now, and I do everything safe. So I need safe humor.
So I heard this about, like, so he did that Walter Hobbs.
I never watched it, so I don't know. Yeah.
No, but so you don't need to watch the movie to know. But so apparently in his and like Jason Statham's contracts, like there's literally a clause that says neither one of them can lose a fight. Like, so in any movie they're in, they just can't lose. And like this actually ties into the Henry Cavill thing, which is really interesting. And I have not verified this at all. But because he can never lose a fight, I think that kind of goes in, like, he's got this weird ego about himself now and in these movies. And so, like, Henry Cavill was obviously, spoiler alert for a movie that came out like 2 months ago. Henry Cavill was, slated to come back as Superman, and that was like no secret to anybody. And apparently The Rock has the same agent as Henry Cavill, which is like his ex-wife or something like that. And after this all kind of like blew up in his face, it sounds like The Rock's wife was kind of like taking roles from Henry Cavill as the thought and giving The Rock.
Okay.
There's like this crazy weird conspiracy there. It's all going back to this crazy, gigantic, but apparently incredibly fragile ego that The Rock has. I
mean, it is basically a glass ego because it has gone. If you look at his, like, IMDb history, right, and I was like, I've seen him do this character before. Yeah. And have you ever seen Doom?
Doom.
The video game made into a movie.
Wait, and it featured. I was going to say, I thought that's what you meant for a second.
It featured The Rock and Carl Urban. And they were together. And this, like, Black Adam is basically The Rock in Doom. But now that same character is, a badass. But, like, I don't know. This movie got made because Dwayne Johnson's like, I want to be a superhero, and I'm going to make it ethnic because I think that could sell, and it kind of resonates with my, heritage.
They literally started the movie with that fucking kid who I also want to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
this whole, like, you guys are the occupiers, and what you do, which is just, like, the most...
Well, let's just break down how it gets made, right? So The Rock wants to be a superhero. That's number one, right? So it's a Rock vehicle. The Rock wants to be a superhero.
My brain is being fried by just how much garbage is in that movie, and I'm trying to find a way to like distill it into just individual topics. There's many things.
There can't be anybody that overpowers The Rock in this movie, like actually in the script,
he's super cool. You can't stop him. Remember? Do you remember what he said?
Or a Hollywood actor, like Pierce Bronson, like goes in and Pierce Bronson does a little bit of Pierce Bronson, but he does a little bit of lifting in here.
I was going to say, Pierce Brosnan, I thought was an infinitely more interesting character than Black Adam was. Black Adam was boring as shit.
For sure. The only problem is that he was Doctor Strange.
That was my next thing.
We'll get to those parts later because basically, like I said, everything is a copy of another movie.
And then they had Deadpool again, or like. some like discount Spider-Man, just like the same thing.
Hold on. We'll get to all that too, because that really is like one of the other fucking parts of this movie that's just ridiculous. But so they need a rock vehicle, they get a rock vehicle. They need actors that won't overpower the Rock, so they sign on all these people you never heard of. They need, he wants to be Black Adam. So they're like, all right, well, now we got to go for where is this going to go? Now, remember, like, what distribution of clientele, of audience are we going to look for? Now, remember, The Rock, and we talked about this when we worked together, was like The Rock did movies like that were always like Chinese influenced or Chinese based because he sells a shit ton in China, right? Like he's a huge Chinese movie star.
We gotta remember that when we're writing our Melissa McCarthy movie.
Yeah, right. and so he can't. And he did Skyscraper, which was out in either Japan or China.
God, that's right.
And it was like, why did he do it? And that movie was a bomb. But if you look at their overseas numbers, he crushed it. Yeah. So they're like, what are we gonna do here? No, we're not gonna go to USA. We're not gonna go. Why don't we go to Kandahar? Not Kandahar.
Kahndaq.
Kahndaq.
Yeah, everyone knows Kahndaq. Come on, man.
Where haven't we been to in superhero worlds? Let's go to the Middle East somewhere. And it was like, are you kidding me? Like, maybe this is... I don't know. I'm not a Black Adam aficionado. Maybe this is his fucking,
So I looked it up literally this morning.
His origin story, but it is a stretch.
They've like changed Black Adam's origin story like 3 or 4 times, but that's like the latest version of it is that he's like originally he was from Egypt and then he was from this other place, but now he's like from some made up country of Kahndaq because I guess it's easier and they won't offend people if it's, from some made up nation.
Right.
Or something like that.
Okay, so fine. Okay, fine. But then you're going to base the whole thing and do an origin story on this character that, number one, is not a big popular, comic book star.
No. They're reestablishing the DC hierarchy. Didn't you see The Rock's tweet about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, again, another reason that this movie gets made is why? Because The Rock wants to be DC. Right?
Yeah, he wants to be the big one.
He wants to be the foundation of the DC universe.
I mean, that's the one good thing about Henry Cavill being no longer Superman and like there's no longer going to be a Black Adam 2 is because this movie was infuriating with how much everyone was just praising The Rock's character, whether on purpose and like the villain would be like, God, he is so strong and cool. It was like a North Korean propaganda film. Where they're subbing in like, God, Kim Jong-il is definitely has an appropriate weight for his height and is definitely the most handsome man in all of true Korea. Except they just replace it with The Rock's name. It's just that level of absurdity. And they were just going to have that happen in another movie where he beats the shit out of Superman or something because he's just that cool and badass.
Well, I mean, and then he wanted to go after Superman, and it was like, why? Why do you want to go after Superman? Like, I don't know. But that's at the end. But
yeah, exactly. It's just to boost The Rock's fucking ego.
But I mean, so they try to get a guaranteed gate, box office gate, at least globally, by doing this in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. They get all these little guys that won't, impact or threaten The Rock's ego.
Yeah.
They don't spend any money on development because they literally ripped off every other movie, comic book movie, script.
They literally ripped the villain from the Bible. Like it's just like,
dude, it's like Satan.
You weren't even creative there. You just went to the Book of Genesis. You're like this Lucifer guy. I don't think anyone's ever used him before. Let's give it a whirl.
And then let's just go through the other characters in this movie that were just ripped off of other scripts to save from development. Doctor Strange, Storm.
Yes, Storm, that's who that was.
Storm,
wow.
it's Storm. Fucking Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man. Oh, that's who. Yeah, it was like Ant-Man, Deadpool or something.
Atom Smasher. Yeah. Well, his name was Atom Smasher. But yeah, he had the Deadpool in him, but he was Ant-Man. He was just like, and he was Ant-Man. So, and then it was Black Adam, who is Superman. It's like a black Superman. And then you had, Hawkman, who is in the Justice League, but like, Hawkman is basically Falcon.
Yeah,
he's basically Falcon.
It's just...
Now, I don't know if there was a black Hawkman. The Hawkman I remember from cartoons as a kid was always a white guy. So that making Hawkman black just kind of reminded me of Falcon in this era.
Yeah,
in this term.
It's whatever. Yeah, I mean, all those poor Hawkman fan out there, like I'm sure he was devastated that he did his hero wasn't properly, Caucasian or some bullshit. But just
how about another one? How about the fact that the this is the Justice Society, right?
that was so funny to me. I'm sorry.
Dude.
The fact I was like, you couldn't
Fucking
even
Justice
get them to
Society.
say Justice League. Are you kidding? Like, you can't just say that. Like, oh no, we're the Justice Society. Like, we are the Justice Acquaintances, not technically the Justice League. We're not
me a
the Justice Friends. It's like
What are we
it was
doing
just
here?
So
What are we doing?
it was so tangential. Like, we're a part of this, but we're not. It was just so dumb. So dumb, dude.
And the duct tape and bubblegum, they tried to loop this into the bigger DC universe with the manager of, I don't even know who did.
Yeah, they just copy-pasted characters from the Suicide Squad, and then they just took Amanda Waller, who was there for like 5 seconds.
Right, Amanda Waller, who ends up being like, she's the glue. She's the Wong. Right? She's the Wong of the DC universe.
She's the Wong.
She's there, so everything's related because, she's there. Like, what? I don't even understand. She comes in the end. It's like the whole thing. But, like, I mean, God, we just went through. Here's another one that's just ripped off. The plane that the Justice Society flies in.
Oh, my God. You mean the X-plane, right?
The X-Man's plane.
The X-plane.
I mean, ding. That's the fucking X-Man's fucking plane. It's the Blackbird.
It's so funny. It's so funny, though. It's just so...
I saw that, and I was like, how does nobody see that this is the goddamn X-Men plane that came up out of the ground of a gigantic mansion? Is it the X-Mansion? I
also loved, and like, this is somewhat different, but like, you see this in every superhero. It's back to the one part where you mentioned where it's that part of the movie where he has to give up his powers for like 5 minutes, and like so he can be away.
The Superman 2 plotline, yeah, of course.
Exactly. He has to give his powers for 3 or Spider-Man 2 plotline where he gives up his powers until he's truly needed. But like this one, they seal him away in a prison, and then he gets like just barely they release him, but he's not like at full strength yet. And that was, to me, somehow the most infuriating part of like the Rock ego dick stroking, where he's this like 1,000-year-old Egyptian dude with no weapons or anything, but he's just so badass that even in his like regular human form, having just been released from almost drowning and not being able to breathe properly, he's like beating the shit out of these guys with like this squad of dudes with guns.
And there's no atrophy at all.
He's
got all of his energy back.
It's a normal dude at this point. Like, he's just like, I know it's a movie, but like there's like, to me, that wasn't so much because he's that badass of a superhero that he can fight that well. Like, that was never established. It was just The Rock's so badass, isn't he, guys? Like, that was the Rock I could see saying, we need to show that my character's a badass even without his powers.
Even without his power, right?
Even without my powers, like, I'm just really that cool. Like, even like Superman couldn't do that if he didn't have his powers, but I could do that without my powers. So you have to put that in the movie. Like, that is, I can see that phone call happening, and the producer just going, Jesus Christ.
Well, what I see is like The Rock with like just a scratch pad of movies I loved when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it was like
speaking of
Superman
Terminator 2.
Oh my God, yes, Terminator 2. Oh my God, that was one of the parts that I wanted to get to was the fact that they ripped off the whole "Hasta la vista, you need a slogan" thing.
Need to talk to the man in black, dude. That fucking shit. But like Terminator 2, and I haven't seen that movie in a hot minute, but the way I remember it, I don't remember the kid who played John Connor as being like
Edward Furlong.
Yeah, whatever his name was. But I don't remember him being like an offensive part of the movie. Like, he was there.
Oh, his acting was horrific in Terminator 2. It was awful.
Okay,
everybody hated him.
I haven't seen it in hot minutes. So
I saw it when it came out, and I remember it well, and everybody was like, that kid is fucking terrible. He's a terrible actor.
He has quite a lot in common with the kid in this movie, because Jesus fucking Christ, dude, that kid was so bad, and they shoved him into every fucking scene.
The best part was, like, you could see the cue cards over the shoulder of The Rock when he's talking to The Rock, and it was just like, come on, dude.
Why don't you understand how badass you are? You are like the most badass superhero of all time. Like, you have a way cooler
that's
logo.
right.
You have a way cooler logo than Batman, and you're wearing
That's
black,
right, that's
which is
right.
a way cooler color than what Superman has.
And he's
Superman-
referencing all the other DC
dude,
characters.
You're way more stacked than Aquaman or Batman or Superman. You're way cooler than them. You're like, what the fuck? And then, like, I mean, that kid just awful actor, incredibly annoying character. Like, I love that he was kidnapped and that he, like, The Rock, like, started to enjoy him, and then he started saying his stupid catchphrase bullshit. But the thing, and I wrote a note card about this specifically to remember this, was the fucking scene where the kid has to, like, get the people of Kahndaq to rise up.
Oh yes, okay,
against the zombies.
And he's doing the rock symbol. He's doing the diamond cutter.
It wasn't even that, dude. It was like, you have to re-listen to that scene because he was.
By the way, they
was
stole
like
the diamond cutter, which was then stole by Jay-Z and Rock, Rock Nation, which then was stolen for this. And I don't even know why they do the Rock outside of, it was the diamond cutter, which became synonymous with the Rock, and it's kind of like an ode to the fucking Rock.
Yeah, it's.
But continue.
So, like, I'm not sure if because I'm not sure how long it's been since you watched the movie because it's such a quick bit. It's like maybe 20 seconds long. But the kid's like, we need to rise up. We need to save Kahndaq. You are the people who will save Kahndaq. It is like his kindergarten teacher just told him to use his inside voice. He is talking so fucking quietly in the movie. Like, he's talking at room volume in front of these, what's supposed to be like the mass of people in this city, probably 25 people. And he's just like, you guys need to stop the monsters. The monsters are bad. We must rise up against the monsters. Oh, you can kill the monsters in one hit? These gigantic armada of zombies we've been, like, building up the whole movies you can kill with a skateboard?
I think the reason that they all didn't act and showed no emotion was because they were like, well, we have to put all of that emotion into Hawkman, who was the complete opposite of everybody else in the movie, where everybody else is just like, I am going to say everything at the same tone and in the same inflection. And The Rock's like, I'm going to do all of my lines just like this, and I'm not going to change. And then Hawkman's like, yo, you can't be killing people, Black Adam. That's so wrong. And you got to understand what I'm saying. It was like, oh, dude, just fucking chill out. Just chill out.
Listen, I kind of respect, like, so him and Pierce Brosnan were the only two in that movie that I thought were actually trying.
No, the actor was trying. It was just like, dude, the character's got to dial it down.
I was going to say, like, this is not that, like, I have the feeling he's a talented actor. And Pierce Brosnan, I just like for being being in some of the dumbest but funnest James Bond movies.
Yes, sure.
But, like they were the only two there that I feel like had even, like, the ability. Like, the other two superhero characters who were just there. Like, they were doing.
By the way, what's her name?
Impression.
Cyclone. It was Cyclone and Atom Smasher, right?
Like, Atom Smasher, I've seen at least from, like, this old cartoon Justice League. Like, he was in that for, like, an episode or two.
Oh, I was going to say he's got a new movie coming out, Ant-Man and Quantumania. That's where you might see it next.
Yes, of course. Yeah, the other movie that I can't wait to not see, but I'm going to probably watch anyway. I like Paul Rudd, but that movie looks just like, talk about jumping the fucking shark. Like, those two were just doing, like, their best impression of, like, pretend this is a Marvel movie, and that's how you're going to act. You're going to act like a Marvel superhero.
Yeah, for sure.
God, they were just...
Now, going back to the point that you wanted to talk about, that kid.
Like, that kid, dude. That fucking kid. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, my God. He was just... Why was he in the movie as much as he was?
Going back to that kid, another, and I can't remember it, maybe you can, but another ripoff in this movie was when Black Adam chases down the Future Bike. By the way, where'd the Future Bikes come from?
God,
can somebody tell me where the Future Bikes came from?
That's a great... I literally remember thinking, like, this is, like, a jump. Like, you're in, like, this third world Middle Eastern country, and all of a sudden, like, you got fucking floating bikes out of nowhere. And
floating bikes? And why do these guys have this Kahndaq?
Yeah, and then remember when, like, Eternium was this super, like, difficult mineral to find, and then it just turns out all of a sudden they're, like, putting it in missiles and shit?
Yeah, it's like you could...
The crowd was made out of Eternium, and like...
It's like a power-up you get in a video game, but here it's something that's undefined.
and I'm sure I'm like overthinking this, and like there's probably another reason for why this wouldn't work. But if the magic crown that you're looking to obtain the entire movie is made out of this mystical substance called eternium, can't you make another one? Like, I'm sure maybe there's like some demon spell or something infused in this particular crown.
Yeah. Well, there's the writing on the inside of the crown bullshit,
But like, come on, man. Like, what the fuck is this? Like,
well,
I thought you needed this for something else. I don't know. And then apparently the rock is his kryptonite, but then that never comes back into play.
Oh, yeah, because it shoots him in the side, and obviously Eternium can hurt him, and then,
Yeah, but then he just zaps it back, like he just cauterizes the wound.
Right,
like
because
seconds,
his mom healed him, but his mom's not a doctor, as the kid said. But it was like, what did she do to you?
Yeah, no,
what did she do to you that she healed
it?
it? They never explained that either.
It's just like I just.
But I want to know, I got to ask you, because maybe you can remember, where The Rock chases down the future bike and then opens it up, but it's the other future bike.
It's the other future bike. Yeah,
the kid isn't in it, he's in the other one, and they do the duality of the two scenes where it's like he opens it, but they open it on the other. And it's in a movie. It's in a movie. That whole same thing was another movie.
I don't know. You're talking. No, The Rock's the first person to ever come up with that idea. That's the completely original Rock. In fact, he probably wrote that down. That was probably him who did it.
I mean,
he's also the greatest writer in Hollywood.
There literally is 1,000 movies in this movie. It's every single scene is a ripoff of another scene.
Like, I want to meet the mental ward patient who had to have like half his brain like scraped through his nose. That thinks that this is a good movie. Like, that's what I'm curious about.
Well,
because
there was this scene where The Rock was like, "Oh, by the way, I love World War Z. So at the end, when I'm fighting, I want there to be a bunch of zombies taking on the little people."
Mm-hmm. Naturally.
And then they insert the zombie section. It was like, what does the zombie section have to do with this? I also want to give up my powers because I really like that part in Superman 2. So I'm going to do that.
And Spider-Man 2.
And Spider-Man 2.
Probably like at least 3 other movies that we can't think of.
Oh, here's another one that I remember. And then when I come out of the water tank, I loved The Matrix. So I want to have a slow motion water scene with me fighting everybody just like The Matrix. Right? And that chick even had like the faux the shiny leather fucking outfit. Just like did in The Matrix with the whatever the hell that shit's caused. It's like reflective leather, But what else? God, what the hell else was it? There was so much shit that was just from other movies.
There was so much shit that was just another movie. That is exactly what I would call it. It was, But
remember, the name of this script is Dwayne Johnson is fucking cool, right? And so to that point, that's all this is about.
I mean, there's just. The fact he like never smiles, he just does what I'm assuming The Rock thinks is like the cool face, where he just like I don't care, he does like a slight smile when something's kind of amusing him. Like
all movie,
kid said, like the kid is like saying something that he finds a little endearing. He does a slight smile, or someone's like challenging him, and he knows he can beat the shit out of him because you can't stop me. We both know you can't stop me, and it's just.
Well, to that point,
it's so off-putting because it's not even like a problem with the plot at that point. It's just you can feel the behind the scenes of The Rock, like either making the environment to the writing staff, or like there's just some way, shape, or form it became where they had to just suck his dick in this way, and it's so weird to think that how that came about. Like whether he was just so like you would say like something. Hey, Rock, you're looking a little down today. I'm never down. I'm The Rock. I'm always up. I'm always up. I'm the most up person of all time. I don't know why you would say that because I'm so up. In fact, I'm the most up person on set. I'm not as down as some playing fucking Hawkman, right? You're like, oh, okay. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, hold on. Another one. So when he floats into the water and then he drowns, and then he has his vision of his child and everything.
Family. Yeah.
Right? Like, that to me reminded me of Gladiator at the end when he's dying, and then he's in that dream scene and he's like meeting his kid. He's got his hand out, ruffling over the wheat in the field. I was like, that's that one. And to rewind, just explain to me somebody when he ultimately gets out of that tube and he does the Matrix scene, and then, like you said, he's just proving how badass he is even without muscles. Why doesn't he just rip the thing off and say Shazam when he's down in the water?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly.
He can't. Does that not work that way?
I guess not. I think that's what they were like. I think they kind of said that earlier, but here's the thing. Like, you couldn't have been like, I don't know, if only there was like some wall or something in that watery pool thing you were in. Like, I don't know, maybe the back wall of where you were standing before you were locked behind, and you can just rip that thing out of your mouth, because apparently all it takes is a quick like this.
Yeah, it's nothing
just
to
off
it.
your face. But,
which again was literally, that shit is literally out of the Matrix. Having the fucking thing stuck down your throat.
It's
in a pool of water that you come out of, and then you got to rip it out, and then you got to breathe. And I mean, come on. I mean, there's yet even 54 minutes into this, there is still another like 4 hours to do. I mean, let's just start with the Black Adam like concept itself. Why is there no Shazam in this movie? They say Shazam.
So apparently, which I gotta verify. Apparently, The Rock was the one who didn't want Shazam in the movie.
Yes, he hates him. He didn't want anything to do with him.
Which I don't get. Like, is it because he hates Zachary Levi, or Levy? Like, apparently he only I guess he only liked Henry Cavill because that was
that's fucking Superman. Right, it's their number one property.
He's Superman, but he's also so they had the same agent. So I imagine they kind of knew each other. But everything I'm hearing on the background now is that The Rock's ex-wife, who was both of their agents, was because Henry Cavill has not gotten that many. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on right now. I'm going full conspiracy mode.
Sure, go ahead.
But this feeds into how fucking crazy The Rock's ego is, because they're both basically the same dude. It's just, here's super jack tall dude who plays literally the exact same superhero. I imagine they're both kind of in contest for the exact same role, and they just kind of The Rock is just, he's just a bigger name, I think, in this current day and age.
So for sure. Well, he's got the whole WWE thing now, and
exactly. But so what it sounds like is because that was their agent. So Henry Cavill's biggest role, I think, besides Superman the last couple of years, was this The Witcher thing, that TV show.
Yes.
One day I'll force you to watch.
Built-in property. No, I want to watch it. I know that they gave him the Sayonara treatment. He's out.
Well, it's because the show is apparently he's a much more involved reason and for the good reasons of the show, because there's this other spin-off that just came out. There's a couple spin-offs that came out where he was not involved at all, and they are noticeably worse to a ridiculous degree, and it's the exact same writing team on the regular show. The only difference is that he's not there, and apparently he has some say in the script.
Okay.
And you're just what's going on here? How are these writers this much worse when he's not here? That's because they're really bad. But anyway, so he got himself the role in The Witcher. He got in contact. He's I love these games. I want to be the main character. He did it. He did his agent's job for her. It sounds like The Rock's ex-wife just kind of basically just was this could go to Henry or to The Rock. It's going to The Rock. Whoops. Did this another 8 times, and it sounds like he finally got fed up. But it also sounds like The Rock's just so egotistical that if he's not the leading man in every fucking movie with a giant white gorilla, he will lose his fucking mind.
Well, I don't understand. Now, granted, I understand, what he was when he was The Rock. And he was a super big property, and people were really into him, and he was really funny, and it was goddamn, the humor is what sold Dwayne Johnson on Hollywood. I mean, he was big, and they were maybe we could do this Arnold Schwarzenegger thing with him too. But it was the comedic aspect of his character that made him so cool, that he had this huge following that everyone was man, I want to be The Rock. Nowadays, I don't know if anybody wants to be the fucking Rock, because I think everybody sees him and they're just oh, this fucking guy again. This steroid, the chugging fucking meathead that just wants to tell me how great he is.
Whoa.
He lost all the coolness about him.
The Rock takes steroids? What?
Right.
What? No way. I can't believe it.
But think about, like, and we'll get back to the movie in a second, but, like, think about what happened to The Rock, that he's competing with, Henry Cavill for these roles, like you said, and his wife's like, no, it's going to The Rock, it's going to The Rock. I mean, he did, like, shit to start off with that he wasn't really good in, right? Like Doom, Gridiron Gang. He ponies up with Disney quite a bit.
Are you telling me the Scorpion King wasn't a classic?
The Scorpion King. He gets smart. He has a comedic role. Then he does, like, he really loves Disney because Disney lines his pocket, and it really hits
he
his,
did
like,
some Tooth Fairy movie. Yeah,
he did Tooth Fairy. He did Race to Witch Mountain, which I think is also.
Oh my God, that's right.
Which I think is Disney.
Atrocious.
Then he's got to do some more comedic stuff, so he does a hot second in The Other Guys with Will Ferrell. So he does that.
That was funny.
Faster, I've never seen. I don't know anything about it. But then it's like he's got nowhere to go. He's got to get himself ponied up here because his movie career really is not going anywhere good. And he gets himself into Fast 5 in 2011. So that's about, like 8 years into his go.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then he goes Journey of the Center of the Earth 2.
Oh, God, he was in that too.
Then he's in some movie Snitch, which I've never even heard about. Then he tries to pony up with another IP with G.I. Joe Retaliation. He does Empire State, which I have not seen. Pain and Gain, that's when he buddies up with, he buddies up with another big-time guy because Wahlberg will hire anybody that'll just, kowtow to him. So he does the Pain and Gain. Fast and Furious 6. Hercules, Bomberoo, another Furious, so he's in 3 Furiouses. San Andreas, which is terrible.
That's right, dude. You're really, like, bringing me back. I'm like, wow, he's in a lot. When you're putting it all like this, because I feel like I see so many movies that he's in. Like, there was, like, 3 movies at one time where he was in, have you seen that meme where there's The Rock in, like, this, like, jungle-ish explorer outfit, and they show 3 different images, and they're like, what if I told you that despite this being the same outfit, these were all taken from 3 different movies, and it's like from Jumanji, and then the gorilla movie that he was in, and then there's a scene apparently in I think it was either San Andreas or Journey or something like that where he's also in that same outfit, and it's just like he's always The Rock.
He's always The Rock,
which is fine, but it's like
he has not made a good movie. Look, you want to talk about Schwarzenegger? No, he wasn't good. But shit, man, like Predator will still be watched 40 years from now, right? Commando won't. Commando wasn't good, but Predator was. Terminator 2 was. The original Terminator will still be watched. Like Schwarzenegger has some things that it's like, you know what? He's not a good actor, but he fit that shit perfectly. I mean, The Rock. This shit is like none of this is watchable. Central Intelligence is the only one I think. Is
that the one with Kevin Hart? Where that
yes.
Which started as like a fun pairing, and then they went, "What if we did that to death?" And you go,
exactly. But that movie, Central Intelligence.
What if we made you sick of Kevin Hart to like an unreal degree? And you go, "No, I love Kevin Hart. He's a great comedian." And they go, "No, we are going to ruin him for you, and you will never be able to stand him again."
Well, again, 5-year rule. I mean, that was 2016. I would say Kevin Hart is done at this point, right?
His last 2 specials, dude, have been just not good. Like you can tell he's just not as like crazy out there as he used to be, which is definitely because he's trying to make sure that people will hire him for these family-friendly movies so he can get probably like $50 million a go, which I can't blame him for, but just.
But he doesn't sell anymore, right? I mean, do you think he sells anymore? I would say not.
Tickets or what?
Yeah, like
I think people are gonna because it's just like he's just that big of a name now. But it's not because of.
But is he?
It's more for how big of a name he is than.
Movie X featuring Kevin Hart. Do you have anyone to see it because it's Kevin Hart?
None of my friends would, but here's the thing. Think of how many people put money in FTX, and that turned out to be like a very clear sham. We might just be smarter than most people.
Okay, all right, sure, fair enough.
I'll pat myself on the back. Maybe I'm just maybe we just underestimate how dumb some people are. I don't know.
I guess so. Because if you do the 5-year roll, right, you want to see when he actually comes on. I mean, I don't know. Oh man, what is that popping? Are you like snapping something by the?
Yeah, I have this stupid thing. Yeah, no,
Oh,
I'm just just to keep my hand busy.
Yeah. Don't do that. You're doing it by the microphone. You're blowing my ears out, brother.
That's my bad. Okay.
And anybody listening, all three people.
Yeah.
No, but like,
So sorry, Uncle Ron. Yeah.
yeah, 40-Year-Old Virgin, 2005. Right, he didn't hit yet. Scary Movie, epic movie. Fool's Gold, Meet Dave. He hasn't hit yet. Little Fockers, nothing. Something like a business. He was JoJo, no dice. 35. Where's the first movie that it was like, oh, he's in a movie now? Modern Family, Workaholics. This Is the End as Kevin Hart. That was 2013. Grudge Match. He wasn't even in that. Ride Along in 2014. Is that his first big one? Him and Ice Cube.
Oh, I saw that recommended after I watched Black Adam yesterday on HBO. I was like,
Ride Along was pretty good, was pretty big, and so let's say he gets his real start around 2014-ish, so that would put him 2014 to 2019, and in that time he's got Ride Along, he's got Get Hard with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Ride Along 2.
God, that movie was shockingly below average.
Central Intelligence. Secret Life of Pets. He's one of the voices there. Jumanji.
Yeah, that was
Night School. Secret Life of Pets 2. Jumanji: The Next Level, and that takes us through about 5 years. And then after that, I mean, I don't know. There's there's just nothing left. But I mean, off track. I mean, it's just. Yeah, back to The Rock. He hasn't done anything.
It's like the Marvel movies at this point and superhero movies in general. I just feel so overexposed to them now that it's just whatever original thing that made me kind of enjoy it is just gone. It's too much. It's oversaturated. Please stop. Please move on. Don't you have enough money? What are you spending it on?
Well, let's think about, since it's so oversaturated, how could we make the movie better, right? Mm-hmm. And we were talking about Shazam, right? It's kind of like where we got off, was the Shazam thing and The Rock not liking Shazam. Why not use Shazam as the baseline, since this comic book character is pinned to it anyway?
You mean the character that already has an established background personality and people have probably seen the movie if they've been, wanting to see Black Adam?
And their origins are the same. It's the same. That's how they both get their powers.
You're saying a character that shares the similar background to the main character of this movie could also be involved somehow and maybe they could play off one another? That doesn't make any sense. How is that good writing where, characters that have common intersections could, relate to one another or have, something that differs between them that is, the main source of contention? No one would like that movie.
It's amazing this got greenlit without Shazam, to be honest.
It is crazy, which is also nuts because I was thinking about it after finishing it last night. The beginning of the movie,
the Egyptian background scene,
the whole concept of this ancient Egyptian slave, he rises up against these guys enslaving him, and then he's because he's a pure heart, he gets these superpowers. But then he's so pure of heart, he's able to transfer the powers to his kind of fucked up dad to save him, yes. And then he dies. That's actually kind of interesting where these powers that are supposed to be for someone of pure heart go to someone who's actually a little fucked up,
right? And then it's a father that lost his son,
and he's not the best guy, and he's got a vendetta and he's got all these powers. That's actually kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious where you could take that story, and then instead they just turn it into this fucking old Book of John 3:16
says I just kicked your ass.
Where there's demons, which is just why are there demons here? What, you never even established that there's just demons? Okay, I guess there's just demons. That's my bad. Also, and I know there was a video that mentioned this, but it's just a quick sidetrack to the demon part. Remember when they're in the fucking X-Men plane and the demon first emerges from the ocean out of nowhere, and they go, "Oh my God, it's the demon Sabat." How the fuck do you know that?
Well, remember they said they had the ancient text. the ancient text that we have that you don't have access to.
I must be missing that version of Google Translate.
Well, and another
just-
another thing that they could have done outside of Shazam, to your point, is they could have defined some of this shit more. Like, I feel like this was probably 2 movies before we needed to get here, right?
Yeah.
Like, where does the technology come from? Because I don't get it. They just magically have it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now it's just here. You don't have magic floating bikes?
What is Ethereum or whatever the heck? Is that a Bitcoin? Is that
I mean,
is that a crypto?
It is.
Or,
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Or is it something you put into a bomb and you throw and can somehow hurt Black Adam?
It can be too. Maybe he's allergic to NFTs. Maybe he lost a lot of money on it. That's why it hurts him.
He could. He could. Like, what is it? Why are there flying bikes? Who the fuck is Hawkman? Who is Dr. Fate?
I don't. Yeah, that is another just crazy part that they thought that was fine to just throw this because Marvel's done it now. They're like, we can do it. Fuck it. Yeah, who cares? We'll just throw these random new superheroes in, which is just like defeats the whole purpose of why we like these shared connected worlds. Like, this is what kept the MCU interesting in the first place, where there was like something to kind of hold on to. Like, there was a reason, like, oh, I've seen this character in this movie. I know his background. I know why he does.
Or cartoons, or like something like.
Yeah.
The DC world is not really well versed in everybody's background.
Yeah, which is just like I feel like it's not that hard to understand like what this is, and yet for some reason it clearly is because they just don't know what they're doing and they keep making the same flippant mistake. So there's just so many flaws with this movie, man.
Well,
it's crazy. No
Shazam. How about number 2? How about no hair? No Widow's Peak. It doesn't look like Black Adam.
Right. No, you know what was nuts? So because I was thinking that same thing in one of like the scenes in the beginning. They show Black Adam with the Widow's Peak. I think it was like his son's version of like the superhero.
Okay.
But there's some version of him with the Widow's Peak. Like, they clearly included it there for like a hot second, and I'm not sure if this was like way earlier CGI or an homage. But I mean, clearly they threw it out because like, no, we got to keep the Rock's bald ass head.
It's unbelievable that the Rock couldn't bring himself to just even get a wig that like would have looked like his old hair when he had hair.
No, he is the Rock. Fuck you. No, the Rock isn't. Dude, have you seen his contract right above where it says the Rock does not lose fights? The Rock does not wear hair.
Like he doesn't have elf ears. He doesn't have the Widow's Peak. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy that they couldn't bring themselves to been like, look, Rock, here's the deal. We love you, but you got to look a little bit like Black Adam. Like, you can't just look like The Rock again, because then you're going to look like Hobbs, then you're going to look like Skyscraper Dude, then you're going to look like Baywatch Dude.
You could just call him The Rock. It's cool. No one cares.
And like I know that you love yourself and you think that you're this big, movie hero. But you're just being the fucking Rock. Like, you got to try to be something else.
There was some other interview that like came out like a couple of years ago where someone.
I just sent you a picture of a image photoshopped of what The Rock could have done had he chose to actually try to be Black Adam.
I mean, I would. I'm not sure. I think they could have made it work, but he clearly wasn't there to act. Like, this is clearly.
Well, look at the picture that I just sent you.
Oh no, I'm looking at it right now. I got it on my phone.
I mean, that doesn't make him look like a retard, right? I mean, I said the R word.
Oh, wow, way to get canceled. Okay, well, it's been fun. New podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
it wasn't Will that said that. It was me.
I'm not going down this way. Not going down this way. Yeah.
Great line in 40-Year-Old Virgin, but you can't use it anymore.
I voted for Biden, everybody. Yeah, I'm great. Cancel me. Oh, man. No, I voted for Jill Stein. Why not? Who is she? I don't even know.
I voted none of the above. Hashtag fact. I wrote it in.
Neither one of them. Yeah,
that's such a stupid vote, asshole. You're throwing your vote away.
Well, you know what? I had a lot more fun doing that.
I voted for Black Adam as best superhero movie of all time. That's what I did.
you fucking
It's
retarded?
just like,
Oh, that wasn't even me. That was straight out of the movies.
it's just like he could have done that. Like he could have been like a little more faithful to like the comic book character or something like that. But he just clearly, it's just an ego thing at that point. He's too big. He's too big of a name.
It's amazing.
That's why he didn't do it. Like he could have done it. He just chose not to. And it's just kind of crazy. I mean, there was literally a thing a few years ago that I cannot remember the exact phrasing, but someone basically called out The Rock for not being an actor, which like you're in movies, but you're not. You're not really. You're not. Like I'm sorry. Like,
You are not an actor.
You and Daniel Day-Lewis have not much in common. Like let's just be like you may both be in movies, but you are. What did Martin Scorsese say about like superhero movies where they're just like roller coaster rides? They're just there for fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Scorsese hates them all.
The Rock takes that to like such an extreme where his movies are just like they're just so much even dumber than that.
They're devoid of anything.
They're devoid of like superhero movies at least have something I feel like you can kind of hold on to. I don't agree with Martin Scorsese entirely, maybe on some of the more recent ones, especially Black Adam. But like the original Iron Man, that was actually really good. But
all right, so here comparing
now we're splitting hairs.
Well, no, like comparing the original Iron Man to this, and I would have to watch the Iron Man again. Mm-hmm. Is there a third of the slow motion sequences in the Iron Man as there is in Black Adam? Because the entire movie is slow motion.
Oh my god, they really love that slow mo cam. Did you see when he caught that bullet? Dude.
That's fun. The reason I bring it up is because that just happened. I'm rewatching it as we're doing the show.
In the background. To be fair, I could have said that like saying that right now. You could be at any one of like the 10 different scenes where he catches a bullet or deflects something or grabs something in slow motion that happened.
But I feel like the slow motion is for one purpose because again, the script reads Dwayne Johnson is fucking cool.
Yeah, he's fucking cool. He's so badass. Like,
look at his face in slow motion. Fucking hard.
Which is like so, and that's where I kind of get back, like, because DC's had this problem. Like there's so few DC movies in like this DC universe or whatever that I think were actually kind of decent. They weren't like just have like the dumbest, stupid overall flaws that you can just see on rewatch. But like, I mean, this was just such a clear example of like the worst of why I don't like the DC movies compared to Marvel. Like this was like everything wrong with DC was just in this movie in particular.
Well, specifically the fact that the gods versus humans aspect, like it really doesn't work. Right?
It really doesn't. But like you can have an interesting like idea with like the god, like the Greek gods or whatever the hell's giving him powers. Or I mean, Shazam had just. I don't know what it is. It's always like the most underutilized characters that they've been like just killing it with. Like the Suicide Squad was with James Gunn made. That was a fun movie.
It was awesome.
That was a solid movie. I had a bunch of fun watching that one.
Well, James Gunn for one, but number two, like more or less human based, right?
Yeah.
Like it was very Marvel-esque. Right, it was like human-based superheroes.
Yeah, it was like very
not the Shark Boy and all that, but you know, you know what I mean.
Well, the Shark guy was just Groot, but like more hardcore.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just rated R Guardians of the Galaxy. That's really what the Suicide Squad was. But it was fun. I enjoyed it
completely. And understandable, and you got it, right? Like, I don't know what the rest of the DC universe is, but when I watch that movie, I get what that movie is, and I know where it fits in.
And this one just, like, whatever the writing or the background was for this movie, dude, it just, like, you could feel, like, the teacher's pet, like, kind of, like, we got to make sure The Rock, like, the writers were just, we got to make sure The Rock likes us. Let's have another scene where he, like, flexes his fucking pecs, and, like, a missile deflects off of it, and it solves world hunger somehow. Because that's how great The Rock is.
Oh, another thing from his past that he loved. He loved the late 1980s TV show on NBC, Tour of Duty. Because Tour of Duty intro.
I've never even heard of this one.
No, it was 87 to 90. I think it was NBC. Could have been CBS. I don't know, one of the two. But it was a Vietnam show. And the intro to the show was none other than, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Paint It Black. And it was an awesome intro.
Oh, I forgot about the music in the movie. Thank you so much for bringing that up,
it
dude.
was season 1 of Tour of Duty was really big because it was one of the only shows that ever got licensing for music, and they opened with Paint It Black from the Stones, and it was a phenomenal open, and people loved it, and the show flamed out after 3 years. But it was like when The Rock was young, he loved Tour of Duty, and he loved that Paint It Black open, and he needed a video
you gotta have
with
this in
Paint It
there.
Black.
I mean, how are you not going to have this in there if you're going to be doing, Black Adam? See, it makes sense because Black and Black Adam. Black and Black Adam.
Ding!
Oh,
You got it right there,
you're so
sir.
smart, The Rock. You're so smart, The Rock. Oh, my goodness. You must have been the smartest kid in high school. Would you believe I wasn't that smart actually in high school? No.
I was a big dumb jock.
No way.
Oh,
no way.
shit.
I'm shocked. I can't believe that. And this is small, and I want to hear, I'll hear your take. Maybe we'll get canceled for this, but they had Kanye also in that movie, well into after he's kind of been on whatever trend he's been on recently, where you're kind of what's going on?
He's in what movie?
The Kanye, they had a Kanye song, when he's fucking up, he just storms the enemy base, he starts killing.
Oh, is it a Kanye song? I have to go listen.
They have a Kanye song, but it was the movie was out. They had time to edit this, and it was right as Kanye, a little bit after Kanye was just on his fucking rant of just kind of crazy shit.
Yeah, which is now full on crazy shit.
Which is now even worse. But I'm kind of just shocked they didn't change it. I feel that's got to be the easiest. There's got to be another rap song you could swap that out there with, right? There's got to be some other one that just says power while The Rock just fucks people up.
Yeah, unless The Rock just loved that fucking scene and it was exactly how he pictured it.
I don't think the average person's going to understand that, because he's singing the word power, it's symbolizing that I'm really powerful in this movie. Oh my God, you're so smart. I didn't think of that. Wow. Oh, wow, Rock, you are really intelligent. Damn.
Everything is just little 5 to 10 minute clips from other movies or ideas in his head or videos that he wants or a music, or a music song he wants in there.
It's kind of crazy to me, that this movie really turned me around on The Rock to the degree it did, because I've always liked him. I've always thought he was kind of charismatic and fun. And this one to me just it just opened a door to his soul that I didn't really know what I kind of thought was there, but he's just way pettier than I ever would have imagined.
I guess it took me on a similar path, just in a different way. It was just the one that came to me was man, he really is fucking talentless. He's not this. He's not this super witty athlete that I fell in love with, when I watched a WWE hardcore in the Attitude Era, where it was dude, this guy kills it, he kills it in the ring, and he probably kills it in real life. And I would love to be this guy because he's funny and chicks dig him, and it was he just seems like a blast. And now
he seems like a fun dude to hang out with. And
seems
now
like
you're
a really fun dude to hang out with.
Yeah.
And now I'm oh, fucking The Rock again. Fuck this guy. Which is how do you go from one to the other? Kind of like De Niro, right? De Niro was every man's oh, yeah, dude, I want to hang out with De Niro.
De Niro has to pay for a divorce, so.
Right, and then De Niro becomes this over-the-top liberal, I'm a fucking
Oh,
fuck
that's
Trump.
it, that's right. You're oh,
and it was
wow,
oh,
cool.
fuck, really, Rob?
I've never heard of that before. I mean, I know, a couple family members that they'll hear Trump's name and they'll just lose it momentarily. What did he do to you personally? I don't know. You just
right. Well, that's De Niro to the nth degree.
I understand not liking the dude, but the fact his name will come up and people it'll be the next 20 minutes of my life is them venting. And I'm you can't just drop it. Everyone he sucks. I know. He's annoying.
I got to cut in again because we reached the part where they take him to the underwater fucking
dude.
And I like it is cut out of the Matrix. The whole scene is cut out of the Matrix. There's water everywhere, everything that they're wearing. Like, it's just so crazy. It's just the fucking Matrix. But anyway, back to like what they were, back in the day. They used to be cool, and then they weren't. Like, I would still hang out with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'd have a beer with that guy now. He seems cool as fuck. If The Rock was next to me, I'd been like, I'll pass.
Stone Cold Steve Austin also doesn't have this like gigantic, like $200 million, however much this movie cost, obelisk that is now in the public square that symbolizes how fragile his ego is to the entire world. Like, you just like all that bravado and everything that he's kind of built on. You're like, oh, this is literally, there's this thin pane of glass this is all standing on top of, and it is wobbling constantly, and he needs verbal affirmation of everyone around him to keep it up. And there's just something about that just
does he still clock in though? Like, does he make that much money for people that he can still do this shit? Like, this movie gets made, like, the movie companies have to been like, I don't know anymore. Like, this guy doesn't fucking sell. But I guess the problem is nobody else sells.
I mean, he must. I mean, I don't think, like, because there was, like, a whole thing I saw where he was kind of panicking on Twitter. He was like, no, we made them, like, someone made a comment about how, like, this movie didn't perform as well as, what was it? Black Panther. So, like, this because they came around, I think, around a similar-esque time. And basically, Black Adam was getting completely smoked by Black Panther, like, comparatively, and he was just not taking it in like a cool way. And he was, he kept going on Twitter saying, "We're a baby franchise. You can't compare us to an established brand like Black Panther. We're just learning to walk right now. We will be the new DC." It's like, DC's been out for 10 years, dude. Like, they've made so many other like heroes no one's ever heard of work. Like, this is just a bad movie. Like, get the fuck over it, dude. It's a
terrible movie. It's a fucking terrible movie.
It's like shockingly, and it like the original Black Panther movie. I think we talked about it at some point where I was not a fan. Like, overall, just like there's just some parts of the movie that just were not great. But at least like the character was interesting. Like, the main superhero was cool.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, more Chadwick Boseman. Like, Chadwick, I mean, he was like just a good part of the movie.
Yeah. I mean,
and but just like they was a made up country in the Middle East, basically. I mean, it's Africa, but just like, here's our made up country with our made up element, with our superhero who's just like some legend in this country. But it fit into the Marvel world, right? Because the Marvel world is very well established. Yeah, they made it work. And, like, for some reason, and it wasn't like they weren't sucking Chadwick Boseman's dick the whole movie. Like, it was just. No, this one didn't, because. Well, they have an annoying child, like, every second of every other scene. Just be like, "Yo, man, you're so cool. Your muscles are so big. God, do you work out? God." And everybody's going to think that because we're going to just keep saying it. Man, I wish I was half as cool as you are. But you know who's not even half as cool as you are? Batman and Superman. You are so much cooler than them, man. And they're like really established. God, I bet you could have sex with Wonder Woman if you wanted. Like, I don't know about when that. When he zaps the fucking probably Superman poster, and he's like, "I can get another one. It's no big deal." Yeah, I can get another one. It's no big deal. I couldn't get a Black Adam poster though. Those are like super rare and exclusive. Only the coolest kids have those. It's like, God damn, dude. Jesus Christ. He really is a fucking asshole. Like, he really is. It's just such that kid, man, drove me insane. Oh my God! There was so much that drove me insane. The kid was one of them, but I was just notice also how we are not talking about the villain at all. Like, oh my God, other scenes except he's on the TV like right now. Satan. Yeah. Yes. Satan. Yeah, exactly. Except when he became like Satan for some reason. Like, otherwise, he was just kind of in the movie. Well, again. Marvel has all this shit to tap into, which is very well established, and they have good synergy. The DC
comic book universe has the same shit. Like, they have storylines they can tap into.
Yeah.
They just refuse to do it. They have to do their own island movie for all these guys.
Yeah.
And not have them, like, relatable to each other. And it's just fucking crazy, dude.
No, they have to do Batman v Superman at Call of Duty or whatever the fuck they call them, and then make a 5-hour cut of both movies.
That's right.
Like, it's like, who is
The
this for?
Snyderverse.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I watched, just because we're on this topic, like, I watched I watched both versions of the Justice League. I watched the
As did I.
cut, and I watched the Snyder cut. And the Snyder cut was better, but it's just...
But not enough.
Like, exactly. Like, it was
Not
was
worth a rewatch.
I mean, the villain was more fun, I thought, and the CGI was nowhere near as offensive to me.
Well,
Like,
and the villain made more sense with Darkseid in it than it
Darkseid
did.
was cool. Yeah. Also, Stone Thanos. Which is what it was.
Thanos.
Yeah, which is just, it's what he was. But just, I don't know, man. They're just not as good. I don't know. Maybe it's just DC just doesn't have as good of, like, you know. I think they do have good characters. I think their writers just fucking suck. I don't think it's the background that's bad.
I think they're just overthinking it. Like, they just have to adapt the historic comic book lines.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do the Death of Superman,
Yeah, you mean one of the most famous comic books of all time?
dude, like, have at it. Like, do it, but do it
No,
correctly.
we should half-ass it in the middle of
of the Batman Superman
v
movie.
Superman. Yeah, no, let's
Right.
half-ass. Like, let's take the last 40 minutes of this 2.5-hour movie, and we'll turn that into the Death of Superman. You know, one of the most complicated but rewarding and fulfilling and just overall cool comics of all time. Yeah, we'll just cram it in there.
Right. I mean, look, it's not like it hasn't been done before, and I know you're not a Star Trek fan, but, like, the death...
You mean the Death of Spock?
The death of
even I know
Spock.
about that,
The death of Spock was basically the death of Superman before the death of Superman happened. I mean, they even did the rejuvenation of Superman in the same way as they did, you know, Spock all fucked up because his mind's in 8 million different places and they got to rejoin them all. You know, and it was kind of like, well, yeah, they did the same thing with Superman. They just did it with actual entities rather than them all being trapped in one person or in two people, and they had to do the mind meld bullshit. But like, the death of Superman's out there. Just do it. Just do it the right way.
Just do it the right fucking way. It should not be complicated. Like, I don't know what is with these guys that they just refuse to make these, like, decent story, or like maybe don't write your first draft and then immediately start making the movie. Like, there's a thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, like, go over it, like, for 5 seconds before you go, this is the movie right here. I just got high on ketamine and whatever my cousin Pat gave me, and I am positive this is going to crush in theaters. The Rock liked it because I sucked his dick numerous times in the script. The Rock liked it. Well, as we all know, The Rock speaks for all of humankind, so therefore this must be a great movie.
Yeah.
It's just...
Here's my question for you, like, to try to approach the exit here, is that had there been a Black Adam 2, right? Because
there's not going to be?
No, yeah, it's done. It's over, Johnny. What would they have done? What could you have done?
Oh, I mean, clearly they were going to do Black Adam v Superman or some bullshit where Black Adam would have, course, be mentioned first because The Rock. I'm sure, like it would be one of those things where, well, Superman's the more well-known hero. It's like, no, DC hierarchy. Now Black Adam's going to be number one because I'm playing him. It's just. I mean,
like, how would you? They introduced them at the end of the movie with the stupid cameo that everybody knew was coming.
Yeah.
Brought on by who was the black boss?
Amanda Waller.
Amanda Waller. Is that the actress's name?
No, I don't remember. I mean, she's a famous actress, and I'm just completely.
But Amanda Waller is the name of the character.
Well, I know that because she was like the main bad guy in the Justice League show. She had like this like weird relationship with Batman that was kind of cool.
Okay, so Amanda Waller introduces them.
That's exactly my point. The fucking show that came out like 20 years ago at this point that I watched when I was a kid that like I rewatched some episodes of over the summer that has a way better fucking storyline than anything I've seen in these DC movies. The cartoon that understood their characters way better. Yeah, no, that's. I'm
Well, you want to talk about things like cartoons that understand everything better. Like my youngest son is watching the X-Men, the old 80s, 90s cartoons. Yeah. And he fucking loves it. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I know it's a kid cartoon, but like, there's some adult jokes in it, like way more than you would have thought. Like the Wolverine character, some of the other ones. Like, I mean, there's just kind of like adult shit.
I remember, I haven't seen that since I was like 5 or something, so I remember it being good, but I also remember Beast Wars having stellar animation, which they're now turning into a new Transformers movie, which I don't need.
I've already seen the trailers. It looks horrific. It looks awesome.
Horrific.
They're going to screw that one up too, which I can't believe.
I loved Beast Wars as a kid, which is where all like the animal Transformers come from, but like I don't remember it that well, and I was 4, and I'm sure they're going to barely take anything in it from it except for the fact that, oh, this guy was a monkey when he transformed, and I'm sure it's going to be atrocious.
Right. Well, again, and those go to the same place that we were talking about the DC Universe, is that the material's out there. You want to do a G.I. Joe thing? You want to do a G.I. Joe adaptation? There are a shit ton of cartoons that kids back in the day loved. Just redo those fucking cartoons and do them on the big screen. Like, just keep those storylines. Like, it's very easy to do. You want to do Transformers, do the Transformers. Do the seasons up until the Transformer movie. It's very easy to do. And then have, you know, the Transformer movie was a big disaster.
No, they gotta have Megatron turn out to be the bad guy again. That's what
right.
they gotta do.
But
they gotta do that again.
Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Just like redo what the cartoons did. Just do it in real life movies.
You have so much back content you could base this shit off of, and it's just they never choose to do that for God knows what reason. Well, and I don't get it.
Well, G.I. Joe was hysterical because G.I. Joe was kind of, and we're trying to wrap up here after going a while, but like G.I. Joe Retaliation with The Rock was literally Black Adam 1 because he took a little no-name character in Roadblock and made him the entire G.I. Joe movie. Why? Because that's the only character The Rock could play, and it was like, okay. They killed off Channing Tatum, and it was like, oh, The Rock.
Wait. They killed off Channing, the main character? Wasn't he Joe?
Yes. Well, he was, I forget, he was Hawk
I saw the first one, and then I knew there was like the ninja guy that everyone liked.
They basically kill off everybody, and they only bring Channing Tatum back to kill him off. And then it's
Are you serious?
Yes. Yeah, you got, like, it was, when it came out, everybody was like, why'd they advertise Tatum being in the movie? They killed him. And it was like, well, they killed him because The Rock had to be the lead guy. And all the kids that watched the cartoons were like, Roadblock? Roadblock is the lead guy?
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, you did not know this?
No, I saw the first one and I enjoyed it as like a dumb action movie.
Oh, go watch the second one.
I knew like the ninja dude was like, because everyone like liked him, so
Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, yeah.
He was like really cool in the movie, and then I knew he got like a. Like, I guess they gave him his own, like,
they tried to,
or something.
Yeah, origin stories. They were trying to reinvigorate it by going with him, and it didn't really work out.
But
when The Rock came on, he did Black Adam in G.I. Joe Land, where he took Roadblock and was like, yeah, fuck everybody else. I'm doing Roadblock.
Dude, I don't know. This whole thing is, this has changed my entire perspective on the dude. He really must be kind of a nightmare. He must be, like, just the most insecure guy you could possibly deal with. Like, no, I can't show the stage. I don't know what. I think the only reason he works with Kevin Hart so much is just gotta be that Kevin Hart is just like physically he's so much smaller, so he'll never be like of a real threat in that regard to The Rock on the screen.
I think they also just laugh because they get paid so much money for doing shit movies, and they're just like, we get paid for this. We get paid to do this.
I really think it's like The Rock needs everyone to love him and be like, he's the toughest, strongest guy of all time. And it's like, yeah, and here's my Robin, Kevin Hart. I don't know, man. It's just.
Well, let's wrap it up by looking at The
Yeah.
Rock's history here.
Oh, and
here
you gotta
are
tell me
his
the show. You gotta
here
tell me
are
the
his
show as well.
top 10 grossing movies of all time. Top 10. I mean, do you want to take? I mean, I might have to scroll a little bit, but can you give me 3 of the top 10?
Okay, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna say Jumanji and Jumanji 2.
Okay, so Jumanji and Jumanji 2 are both there. Boom, boom.
I am so good at this game.
Well, hold on. Let me just make sure. Yep, Jumanji, The Next Level, and Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle are actually numbers 3 and 4, I believe.
Damn. Okay, I was close.
So 3 and
I'm
4.
gonna
So you did
say-
get 2. Well, let's see. Can you give me 5?
I will give the other ones. So
You probably should be able to give me all 10.
numbers. I was I'm gonna say 2 Fast and Furious movies are probably also in there as well.
I can't even count the amount of Fast and Furious movies.
Okay.
His number 1 of all time is Fast and Furious 7. His second one was The Fate of the Furious.
And
then you
Hobbs
get the
and Shaw
Jumanjis.
killed it as well.
Then you have Fast and Furious 6. Then you have Hobbs and Shaw. And then you have a different one after that. All right, so you got the Fast and Furious. Oh, and then Fast 5. So that's in the top 10. So you've gotten all of the Fast and Furious ones, and you've gotten the 2 Jumanji ones. That leaves a handful of other ones.
Yeah. I mean, it's also maybe this is I don't know if we want to include.
Let's see if you can get all 10. Keep going.
I mean,
You haven't missed yet.
God, I mean, it's so easy to guess some of these. What other movies? I'm trying to think of like what other major franchises he's been in. Let's see, Jumanji, obviously. I want to say that first Kevin Hart, Central Intelligence. Damn it. Okay, wow. I was sure that would be one of them.
Of these, I think you probably could get one more if you thought about it a little bit. And the other 2, probably not. One is just going to be under the radar, even though you've seen it. I know you've seen it, but you're not going to. You probably wouldn't pin it. The other one, you kind of don't even relate it to him, but.
Wait. Okay, wait. That fucking Disney movie that he was in, but I'm not. Does that really count? I mean, I get Moana.
Yeah, there you go. That was the one you should know.
I was gonna say, like, I remember because that was fun, but like I never could because that was in voice acting, I guess.
Right. Well, that one I thought you could get if you thought about it a little bit. The other 2, I think you're going to struggle with. I will give you one is. I'll give you the year. I'll get the 2015.
2015. Okay, so
He hadn't quite.
2015.
Yep, he hadn't quite hooked up with Kevin Hart yet.
I'm gonna cheat here. I'm gonna say 2 movies because I think these are both 2015. It's either San Andreas.
Oh, there you go, San Andreas.
I was gonna say Rampage was the ape movie.
Oh no, that was a bomber road.
Okay,
That was a bomber road.
I'm glad I went with San Andreas first. Now I seem smart.
But San Andreas, so you have successfully hit every one with the exception of number 10.
Did people really watch San Andreas? Like, I just remember that movie coming out and thinking, this looks stupid as fuck.
Well, I mean, you could just watch it for his daughter, the whole movie. I forgot the actress's name, but the one from White Lotus, and she was also in True Detective, the one with the Hooters.
Oh, Alexander Daddario?
Is that who she is? She's in the new
what
Angelia
the
Race,
fuck?
whatever. She's his daughter in San Andreas, and she's like usually in like a wet tank top
Holy
the whole
shit,
time.
that's his daughter in the movie. I gotta watch this movie.
Yeah, and then she also she hopped along with him to Baywatch, and she was in Baywatch with him too.
Oh, damn, I gotta hang out with The Rock, apparently. Yeah, shit. Okay, never mind. I take everything back. I said he's the best actor I've ever seen. Black Adam.
I mean, it makes
movie.
sense. She's got the best
Phenomenal.
breasts ever, so I mean,
I would
it's
say phenomenal movie.
the best and the best.
Yeah, wow, interesting. Good, I'm learning a lot today. Okay.
And the last one, which I don't know if you're going to get because, you think of him second and it was early.
I'm thinking of like, can I get a hint about like the company that made it at all?
I don't even know the company that made it.
I was gonna say like the only other thing I could think of off the top of my head was that football movie he was in, where like he was reconnecting with his daughter.
That's not the Tooth Fairy. That was Gridiron Gang.
Was that it?
That was Gridiron Gang.
Very early. It was the Tooth Fairy was my second guess.
I mean, you've gotten 9 out of 10, so I'm just gonna give it to you. It ends up being. I didn't want that. I wanted the fucking drum roll. The Mummy Returns. So it's where he got his start. The Mummy Returns as a property.
Oh my god, I forgot. I literally said he was a Scorpion King earlier. I completely blanked on him being in that.
Right. Well, The Mummy Returns obviously was part of that huge property, which kind of was like trying to take over the torch from Indiana Jones, which had retired and was mightily successful. They threw him in there.
I rewatched that over Halloween, the first Mummy, and that definitely held up. That movie was solid, but I do not consider that a rock vehicle at all. That was, he was there.
But he was there, and that was $443 million. That was number 10 on the list. Andreas was 474. Fast 5 was 626.
Jesus Christ.
Moana was 643. Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw was 759. Fast and Furious 6 was 790. Jumanji was 800 million. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, which I think was the first one or the second one. So the second one made less at 800 million. The first one made almost $1 billion. That was 962 million. Fate of the Furious was 1.2 billion, and then Furious 7 was 1.5 billion.
I mean, I see why they let him do everything. I mean,
but again, I don't equate any of that shit to him. I don't equate any of it to him.
I think people just see, they're like, oh, The Rock, I like The Rock, and then they just go see a movie, even if it's dumb as fuck. I mean, he's just, I don't know.
They're all Fate movies, you know? It's like...
the only Kevin Hart movie I've watched was Central Intelligence, and maybe, the Jumanji one, but all of those have been like, I'm flying to California for some reason for some family stuff, and like, I'll put on a dumb movie, and then a Rock movie will come up, and I'll turn this on. This will take me out of thinking about being 30,000 feet in the air for 6 hours.
Well, all right. With that, let's just wrap it up. We've been here going a while. But
before you do, last thing. What is the show?
Okay.
I need to know what it is.
So here we go. For the next show, you're going to be forced to watch while you were sick. A HBO Max.
Oh, God.
Made for HBO Max. It's an original. From the mind of Mindy Kaling?
No.
Mindy Kaling, right?
No, not her. Oh, God.
Yes. The Sex Lives of College Girls.
No, motherfucker.
2 episodes.
Are you serious? I never would have. Oh, son of a bitch.
They're a half an hour each. You got to watch 2 episodes.
Nightmare. Dude, I have been following her since The Office, and I've been like...
Wokest show ever. It is phenomenally bad.
She has gotten incredibly obnoxious.
Oh, it's worse than you thought. Worse than you thought.
Oh my god.
Worse than you thought.
This is gonna be I thought it was gonna be Willow, that new Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, no. I mean the Willow. I'll do that later, but you gotta watch The Secret Lives of College Girls or whatever.
Fuck, okay, I'll watch it.
You'll understand when you see it. It literally is the wokest show.
The moment you said Mindy Kaling, dude, I know she. That's a conversation for next time.
It is phenomenal. It's phenomenally bad. It's phenomenally bad. 2 episodes. That's it. All right.
All right.
So till next week, I hope you feel better. Enjoy my homework assignment to you.
Oh fuck, dude! Damn it! Oh, son of a bitch!
No more Rock movies for a week.
No more Rock. At least that's good. That
right.
makes me feel better.
All right. Enjoy, everybody. We're out.
Night.